Okay, so we have Madhvi with us. She's a student of Bhavan Vidyalaya, Sector 27, Chandigarh, and she had been a CL student for almost 2 years, if I'm not wrong, Madhvi, right? And she secured All India Rank 101 in CLAT 2023. So, Madhvi, how are you feeling about this?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm really feeling good about all this because it's almost been like 2 years since I started, and now the entire journey has come to a culmination, the end of it. So it's really a great feeling for the paper to have gone well. And
See, Madhvi, uh, I think almost on daily basis, I'm talking to the students, maybe 10, 50, 20, 100, But what I really feel whenever I have been talking to you, whenever I have interacted with you, you always had a different approach towards the paper. See, I remember, that, if I'm not wrong, that chirpy type, you are very fond of speaking also, right? So,
yes,
so tell me, what was your approach towards CLAT this time?
right. Sir, I mean, towards approaching the paper on the real day or the preparation wise?
Preparation wise,
Right,
as of
preparation wise. Right, sir. So I think I started almost like a year back. I think when the boards were cancelled and everything, when 11th grade had just started, so I decided that I would be doing CLAT and then pursuing law. So I think preparation wise, you have to understand that CLAT is basically reading oriented exam. So if you've got that sorted, if you've built up that skill to read, to comprehend well, so I think you'll basically be able to deal with like three sections out of the entire paper, which is English, legal, and logic. So first thing is you have to build up that skill. You have to build it up by practicing consistently and trying as many questions as you can. And preparation wise, I think just get out there, read a lot of stuff. It's not like you hate economics or philosophy. Like I loved reading. I would just read anything I'll just find. And you have to just diversify your sources, read a lot. And then coming to, I think, the other two sections, GK, and then the much hated subject cons. So I think a lot of people who give CLAT, they're from the humanities stream, and they naturally are like extremely scared of maths, and they think that it is something impossible. But look at it another way: if you don't do cons, you're basically just give attempting the paper out of 135 questions. Those are the 15 questions which are out there to grab. So अगर तुम्हें basic, if you just know the basic concepts of quant, like plus, minus, and multiplication and division, like GP sir said in a video, I think that really changed my perspective. That it's so easy. It is not rocket science. You don't need to know like the 11th and 12th class concepts to be able to do that kind of quant. So you can do it very easily. And I think GK is also something which is manageable once you get the hang of it and once you do it consistently over the time in the preparation phase.
so, Madhvi, how have you been doing in the school? How has been your plus one and plus two in the school?
Right. Sir, I think actually what happened was I was in a different school in 11th grade, and then in 12th grade I was in a different school in a different city altogether. So in school I've always done great academically, and in 11th standard I was I mean the topper in the entire school. So that was because I was very oriented towards humanities subject. And in 11th grade I think it really helped me balance class with academics because I was already in the humanities. There's a lot of overlapping in what we actually study in school and what we have to study for CLAT. So if you're studying political science, it is not something irrelevant. It is eventually going to help you. And in
Great.
12th also, yes, sir. I studied for like the grade, the term, everything. But then I was really thankful for the school to grant me a leave and everything after that. So in October, I basically didn't pay that much attention to school. So that was when I focused on CLAT mainly.
Okay. So, Madhvi, what was your see? You just said three sections. I could manage if you're good at writing. Or so I'm sorry if you're
Reading.
good at reading. So you can really manage the three sections, right? So, what was exactly your sectional approach toward these sections? How did you approach these sections?
Right, sir. So I think, yeah, I need to really say that. I think इसमें CL played a really great role in helping me in these three sections specifically. I remember talking to you before the paper also in November when GP sir had also come.
Right.
So you told me, and even GP sir told me that your approach should be that there are four options in front of you, and the right option is just right there. It is in front of you. You have to be observant and insightful enough to be able to see that the other three are wrong. The right answer is just there in front of you. It's not just somewhere else. So what do you my approach to all these three sections? I think I'll just delve into the individual sections now. But um, overall, if I have to summarize it in one line, the mantra of CLAT is elimination. Elimination in all those sections.
Right, great. See, I remember, when there was this workshop to happen, RT NLU, that race to NLU. I remember talking to your father and you, and I remember your father telling me, Bharat sir, is it really required to attend this workshop? All right. So my question here is, Madhvi, once you attended that workshop, how did you find it?
So it was just awesome, mind blowing. I mean, I remember it. It was 18th November, exactly 1 month to CLAT, and I was
Yeah,
not convinced if I would be attending it. But I finally did decide to come and go and meet you and GP sir, and it was awesome. And he just changed my entire perspective towards CLAT and everything. And that was a
wonderful.
really big confidence booster for me.
And how was the fun part after that?
So,
How was the fun part after the workshop?
yeah. Yeah, sir, that was fun too because to interact with people, it's definitely
Okay.
important.
So my point here is to really think that this journey should always be like this. It should be a mix and match of academics as well as non-academics.
Yes, sir, definitely. It has to be a balance of both academic and then extracurricular activities as well. Because in 11th grade, also, I was doing tennis, I was doing MUNs, I was doing debates, I had a blog, I read a lot. And in 12th grade, also, I did a lot of other things as well alongside that. So the thing is, this test busters for you. They'll take your mind off the test for a while, they'll help you relax. So that is definitely helpful.
Yes, because see, such a long journey of 2 years, there's always ups and downs in the journey. Sometimes you get demotivated, sometimes you get stressed. A bad score in a mock, somehow makes you go away from the things, right? So how do you think your mocks, how far were they important in this journey?
Yes, so I think I can confidently say it with conviction that CL mocks were the closest thing to what actually came in the paper to the CLAT test. And when I was doing the paper, I didn't feel like it was some out of the world test. It was something very similar to a mock. So my modus operandi was, I just went to the center, to the CL center in Chandigarh. I'll do the mock. So it's just the same thing. Okay, don't treat it as something different. So the real CLAT paper will feel like a mock to you. And so about the mocks, so I started taking mocks last year in December. So exactly like 1 year from back. And I didn't have any strategy in mind for my first mock. I just started with it. And what happened was, I remember I got an 82, and my rank was like 5 or 6 at that point of time. But the thing is, I got a 0 in quants because I could not reach that section. I only completed till logic. So I figured out in the first mock itself that if you have to beat other people, you have to get a good rank. Quant is something you have to do. So from 82, I think it went to 87, then 90s, then 95, 96, then it went to 100, then it again came back to 90s, then it went to 110, 120, then it again came back to like 100. So it's been a lot of up and down journey, but I think
It was completely a roller coaster journey.
yes, of course, it was a roller coaster journey, but by and large, I think CL mocks have been great, and I could see that there's some kind of consistency. If you like build a graph out of it, so there is some kind of pattern that you can see definitely.
See, I know so far my experience says, especially in your case, I think your father had been an equal part to you in in this journey. I think I know. So all ups and downs were coming to you and as well as to sir also during this entire journey.
Yes, sir,
Anyway,
of course.
so Afi, you coming from a non-legal family, sort of,
Right.
right? So, any specific reasons of taking up this career?
Yes, sir. I think law is something that fascinated me from the very beginning. I mean, if you look at it, if you go to a shopkeeper, you buy a pencil, that's a contract right there. If you look at outer space, you have to go to Mars with Elon Musk or something. You have conventions and treaties. So law is everywhere. Law is life. Law is civilization. And then if you look at it at a deeper level, I think law is the most important instrument you have for social change. If you really want to change the world, change society in that sense, I think law is the best kind of education which can equip you with those kind of skills. And I did a lot of like community service activities and everything, and that really like strengthened my belief. Law is it for me. I'm going to do this. And so about mocks, I wanted to add a point for anybody who's watching this. You have to be extremely consistent with mocks. So I remember, I think CL came out with like a schedule in December. I took a printout. I pasted it in my room, and I remember it's my birthday. I still gave a mock. I was away to the US. I had a very long flight. I was jet lagged. I still gave a mock. I was
This I
away to some. I still gave a mock. I did not miss even a single mock. Come what may. I mean, anything's happening. Mock to hona hi hai. चाहे जितना भी score है, जैसा भी हो, I have always given every single mock. So I think that is something everybody should do. You should not be scared of them. अगर you've gotten a bad mock or something, still go ahead, give the next mock. Just keep doing them consistently, and it'll fall into place.
Mavi, that's real wonderful for all those students now who would be looking towards you for these things. And I think this tip is definitely, and matlab, if I go back in my last 10, 12 years of CLAT, right, I think
Right.
absolutely right. Mocks are one of the most important tool towards your success, right? So now, Madhvi, again, continue with this mocks only. One thing is giving the mocks. Second thing is analysis of mocks. So how
Right.
did you used to do that?
Yes, sir. So I think, sir, I started with I told you I started in December. The first, I think, 5, 6 mocks I took, unka though I did like very deep down analysis. I think CL gives this instrument in the portal. You can just go into the deep analysis. You can see what questions you got wrong. So I figured out what's working for me, what's not, what sections am I leaving. And I experimented a lot in the beginning. So then I figured out that the only thing which is going to help me like boost my scores is analysis. Otherwise, you'll just keep doing the same mistakes over and over and over again. It won't help you to write another mock. So I think after the mock, it's very important that you spare out like at least 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, if you may, to analyze the mocks. So in the beginning, I think you should look at each and every question and all the sections, and even see the questions you got right. But I think towards the end, I think I just analyzed the wrong questions mainly. But also, I think in December, from December to like August and September, I analyzed my mocks alone. But in September, I started analyzing it with my friend Arpan, and
Yeah.
also I had another friend, Vikram, who's also got AIR 12 in AILET, and Arpan's got AIR 19 in CLAT. So I used to analyze my mocks with them, and we would just look at the questions we would get wrong, and mostly it would happen we get the same questions wrong or different questions. So we'll try to explain it to each other and see what worked for us. What is your explanation? I mean, explain our critical thinking. Explain. I mean, like a lawyer, we'd used to pick up options to argue for. And I think that really helped. That really worked for me and Arpan, especially because we just sit up like in at 11 p.m. or something. We're still discussing the mock, what happened, and that was a stress buster as well. So I think you should find somebody to analyze with.
So this study buddy, right?
Right.
So do you relate in this study buddy type things, studying together like friends, two friends studying together or preparing together? Does it really helps? Does it really works?
So I think it works if you don't waste a lot of time. I think if you just decide ki we have to just discuss this in this time, and if you help each other mutually, it's obviously very helpful and beneficial.
Yes, because I was talking to Arpan, I think yesterday, and she was of the same view that sir, in last 3 months, me and Madhvi, we were all doing together and
Right.
analyzing the marks, working together. So that's good. Okay, so Madhvi, now the D day, I remember the clad day before you were entering. We just met for a minute outside
Right,
the
sir.
gate.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So I think we had a small talk also. So see, when you were there taking the class, you must have had certain strategy in the mind, right? So did you follow that strategy? What was it exactly? And did that 150 questions also help you out something?
Great. Sir, I think I had two strategies in mind. I think three. I think first strategy is the mechanical strategy, as in how are you going to approach the paper. So I think in June or July, I figured out the pattern which worked for me, which is I would look at GK first, which is I think a lot of people don't do that. I'll do GK first, then I'll go to English, then legal, then QT, and in the ending logic. And I figured out that this is the pattern which works for me. This is the way I can maximize my scores in all the sections. So this is the same strategy which I had in mind when I went into the room, and that is the mechanical strategy which I applied. I think on the second level was the emotional kind of strategy, which is that I think firstly, I think Kandalp sir, we had some GK classes as well. So he said that if you've prepared well, you should have that kind of confidence that if you don't know this, the other 59,000 or 60,000 people who write that, there's a very high chance that very few people would be knowing that. So don't panic if you don't know anything. For example, this year in the maths section, I think it was relatively difficult and I got like 2.75 in that. And I figured out that this section is relatively difficult. So a lot of people will just panic after seeing this, or maybe they'll skip it. So I figured out that maybe I'll just spend a little less time on this. I'll try to maximize my score. But that is how I'll go about it. I'll not panic. And third thing is emotionally, I feel like the week in which CLAT was about to happen, it was an extremely turbulent time for me emotionally because on 11th we had AILET. And then, I mean, thanks to God, I was really fortunate enough to be shortlisted by the University of Oxford as well for the law interview. And I had two excruciating law interviews in that week. So it was so turbulent for me. AILET, then answer key, then the interviews. And then I was supposed to give CLAT, the exam I had been preparing for so long. So I think I had talked to you also, sir, just before going into the test, and you said nothing else matters. Just forget the past. It does not matter. AILET does not matter. Interviews, वगैरह, nothing matters. You just have to go in with a fresh mindset and do well. So that is the strategy I was going with, that with the winner's mindset basically.
See, I would always say, no, all is well that ends well.
Right.
So, again, many best wishes and all the congratulations for, securing this rank. And from the entire CL family, Madhvi, all the very best for your journey.
Thank you,
And
sir. Thank you so
all the
much.
very best to your father also. I think who has been, I think he has played a big role in this journey to you. So,
Yes, so
wish you
yeah.
all the very best, Madhvi. Take care.
Thank you. So thank you for having me here, and I really want to thank the entire ecosystem of CL, especially you, the local center here in Chandigarh. You've been really, really, really helpful, and I think that played a huge part in my
Thank you,
journey.
Madhvi. Thank you very much, Madhvi. All the best,
Thank you
beta.
for having
Take
me,
care.
sir. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care,
Bye,
beta.
sir. Thank you.